Ever feel like life is a maze and you're wandering without a clear path? Maybe it's career struggles, relationship challenges, or just a sense of being stuck. It's a tough place to be, but you're not alone. And more importantly, there's hope.
That's right, Kevin. Today we're talking about rediscovering your God given purpose. We'll unpack why this happens, how to reconnect with your calling, and some practical steps to help you thrive even in seasons of uncertainty. Let's dive in.
Welcome to Iron Strengthens Iron, where faith, wellness, and biblical truths come together to help men lead stronger, healthier, and more purposeful lives. I'm Dr. Kevin T. Hattaway, a family physician.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm Dr. Michael E. Hattaway, a clinical psychologist. We're brothers, and we're here to encourage and equip you to live fully and faithfully in every area of life.
Michael, today's topic resonates deeply with so many men. At some point, I think every one of us has asked, am I really living out my purpose? It's a question that can either drive us toward growth or, if left unanswered, leave us feeling lost.
Exactly, Kevin. But the good news is that even when we feel stuck, God has a plan. Our job is to trust Him and take the next faithful step.
Our anchor scripture for today is Jeremiah 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.
This verse is so encouraging. But Kevin, I think a lot of people miss the context here. This promise was given to the Israelites when they were in exile, far from their home, far from where they wanted to be. It's a reminder that God's plan often unfolds in the midst of struggle.
That's a great point, Michael. It shows us that even when we feel far from where we think we should be, God is still working for our good.
The Bible offers so much wisdom on this. In Matthew 6:33, we're reminded to seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. It's about priorities. When we make God our first focus, everything else begins to fall into place.
And Michael, that's hard when you're in the thick of feeling lost. Sometimes the noise of life drowns out that focus. But here's the beauty. God is patient. He's not in a rush. If we take even small steps toward Him, He meets us where we are.
Kevin, let's explore why so many men feel stuck in the first place. One big reason is unmet expectations. We have this picture of where we think we should be by a certain age or stage in life, and when reality doesn't match up, it's easy to feel like we've failed.
Absolutely. Another reason is comparison. Social media, for instance, makes it easy to look at other people's lives and think, why isn't my life like that? But as we know, those highlight reels rarely show the whole story.
Right. And then there's the fear of change. Even when we know we're not in the right place, the thought of stepping into the unknown can be paralyzing. But Kevin, I think this is where faith becomes so important. It gives us the courage to move forward.
Michael, let's go back to Jeremiah 29:11. I love this verse because it reminds us to trust in God's timing. It's not about rushing to figure everything out, but trusting that God is working even when we can't see it.
That trust is key. I think of Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. Sometimes we have to let go of our own understanding to fully embrace God's purpose.
Michael, one thing I've learned is that purpose isn't always revealed in one big dramatic moment. Sometimes it's about taking small, faithful steps and trusting that God will guide the way. For example, I've seen patients who started volunteering at their church just to help out, but discovered a passion they never knew they had.
That's such a great point, Kevin. I often tell my clients, don't wait for the perfect moment to start moving. Purpose is revealed in the doing. Maybe it's joining a small group, trying a new hobby, or even just committing to daily prayer. Each step brings clarity.
You know, Michael, from a medical standpoint, a lack of purpose doesn't just impact your mind. It can affect your physical health, too. Studies show that people without clear goals or meaning in life have higher levels of stress, which can lead to things like hypertension, sleep disturbances, and even a weakened immune system.
Right, Kevin. And from a psychological angle, feeling aimless often leads to a state we call existential anxiety. It's that nagging feeling of, what's my value? What am I doing with my life? But when we take steps toward finding purpose, we see mental relief and greater resilience in facing life's challenges. Let's talk about a mental trap that holds many of us back: the sunk cost fallacy. This is when we keep investing in something that isn't working simply because we've already spent so much time or effort on it. It's when we stay in a situation simply because we've already invested so much into it, even if it's no longer serving us. For example, staying in a job that drains you because you've been there for 10 years.
That's a big one. It might be staying in a job draining you because you've been there for years, or holding on to a project that no longer aligns with your values. Recognizing this fallacy can help us break free and realign with God's purpose. That's such a powerful point. Letting go of something that doesn't align with God's purpose for us is hard, but it's necessary. It's about trusting that He has something better on the other side.
Exactly. It's about giving yourself permission to let go of what's not working so you can embrace what God has for you next. One thing I often tell clients is to reframe the question. Instead of asking, "What am I supposed to do?" try asking, "Who can I serve today?" Purpose often reveals itself in the process of serving others.
That's so true. I've seen men who felt completely stuck find incredible joy and clarity just by volunteering, mentoring, or even helping out in their local church. Sometimes God shows us our purpose in small, unexpected ways. Another big obstacle is the fear of failure. Michael, have you noticed how often men hesitate to try something new because they're afraid of messing up?
All the time, Kevin. Fear of failure can keep us trapped in the familiar, even when we know it's not where we're meant to be. But here's the thing: failure isn't final. It's often the very thing God uses to teach us, refine us, and redirect us.
And the Bible is full of examples of this. Look at Peter. He failed repeatedly, but God still used him to build the early church. It's a reminder that our mistakes don't disqualify us from God's purpose. Let's be real. Comparison is a huge obstacle. It's easy to look at someone else's life and feel like you're falling short. But remember, God's timeline for you is unique. What's meant for them isn't necessarily meant for you.
And fear is another big one. Fear of failure, fear of making the wrong choice. But Proverbs 3:5-6 tells us to trust in the Lord and not lean on our own understanding. That trust can help us overcome those fears. Kevin, I'll never forget the time I hit a crossroads early in my career. I was juggling multiple opportunities and couldn't decide which path to take. It wasn't until I spent time in prayer and sought godly counsel that the right door opened.
And Michael, that's a great example of how God works. It's not always about knowing every step. It's about being faithful with the next one.
Here's a practical spiritual practice. Start your day with this simple prayer: Lord, guide me today to fulfill your purpose. Open my eyes to opportunities to serve and glorify you. It's amazing how that shifts your mindset.
Let's recap some practical steps for rediscovering purpose. 1. Reflect on your gifts. What are you naturally good at and what brings you joy? 2. Take small, intentional steps. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start moving. Seek counsel. Find a mentor or pastor to help you gain clarity.
And don't forget, 4. Let go of what's not working. Trust God to guide you into something better. 5. Redefine success. It's not about worldly achievements, but faithfulness to God. Rediscovering your purpose is a journey, not a destination. Don't rush the process. Trust that God is working in and through you, even when the path isn't clear.
And know that you're not alone in this. God's plan for you is good, and as you take steps forward, He'll reveal it in His perfect timing.
Remember, feeling aimless isn't the end. It's an opportunity to refocus and realign with God's plan. Trust the process. He's working for your good, even in the waiting.
That's so true, Michael. Growth takes time, but every step forward is worth it. You're not alone in this journey. Today, we explored rediscovering your purpose by seeking God, breaking free from limiting mindsets, and taking small, actionable steps to move forward in faith. We talked about why we feel stuck, how to trust in God's timing, and practical ways to rediscover your purpose. We also discussed the power of small steps and overcoming fear.
Next time, we'll discuss small steps, big impact, building habits that transform your life. You don't want to miss it.
As we conclude this episode of Iron Strengthens Iron, we want to remind you that the insights and challenges shared here are meant for educational and motivational purposes. They are not a substitute for professional medical, psychological, or pastoral advice. If you're facing challenges that require personalized care, We encourage you to seek the guidance of a qualified professional in your area.
Thanks for joining us on this faith, strength, and brotherhood journey. Be sure to subscribe and share this episode with someone who needs encouragement today. Until next time, keep strengthening, stay resilient, and remember, as iron sharpens iron, one man strengthens another.